Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Today I'm going to talk just for a minute on Sufism because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Some people in the Western world don't even understand that it's a branch of Islam. It's considered a Sunni branch of Islam, but it's not. There's Shia Sufis, there's Sunni Sufis. There is Western Sufis who claim to be non-Muslim, which is kind of weird, but to each his own. Okay, but so Sufism is Islam. The reason I want to talk about it is I've been reading 4 different books, 2 of them Sufi sources and 2 of them other mystical books, and they just all came together for me really strongly yesterday. So first I'm going to preface the books. My husband got this for me a long time ago. Kashif Majub. It's from a saint from his area in Punjab. So he gave me this book. Here, you can see it up close. And the problem is it's a little hard to read because it's translated from Urdu and it's really difficult to read. But now I'm most of the way through it. And okay, and the other Sufi book would be very famous Ghazali, one of the most famous Sufis of all time. And then also I'm going to add some things about Rumi, who Western people hear him talking about his beloved and love, and they don't understand he's talking about God, which is important to what I'm about to say now. Okay, the other books, this is actually a yoga book. It's by a guy, Iyengar, who lived, like almost to 100 years old, Indian Hindu, but his book, he prefaces by saying, any religion you practice, you can find these things, and a lot of the things he says are very similar to things in Kashif Majub and in Ghazali's work too. So his was really important for helping me understand what I was reading a lot of in Ghazali. So there's that. And then this one is, the title can turn some of you off maybe, The Witch of Portobello. It's by Paulo Coelho, who's famous for writing The Alchemist. He writes very philosophical, spiritual fables, and always interesting. So, how do they all come together? Okay, I'm going to start with my favorite Rumi quote, which is Rumi said, "You're not just a drop in the ocean. You're all of the ocean in one drop." And that probably doesn't make sense to a lot of you. So let me explain. There's a Sufi concept which is present in this, and this. All 4 have the same concept, and it's the very Sufi concept of this. Okay, before there was anything, there was God, right? So God, it was only God, and God created the universe. Since all was God, and He created the universe, and all of the universe is part of God. So you are part of God. I am part of God. The ocean is part of God. The cosmos, the earth and everything is part of God. So each one of us is God, is a piece of God and all of God all at once, because all there was God. So we are created from God. Now, if I haven't lost you, I might get a little bit easier here. That's maybe the hardest concept. But I love that idea that we are all divine. We are all part of God, and He is part of us. It's inseparable. Okay, so why I wanted to talk about it today is, so I've been practicing yoga for a long time, off and on for maybe 15 years, off and on though, but for 2 years now, several times a week, and for almost a year now, almost every day, I would say at least 8 to 10 hours a week. So I practice yoga a lot. Obviously, that seems strange. I am not a mystical person in that sense. I'm not a Hindu, none of those things, but I've found that yoga can help you with your mind and your soul and quieting your soul. So it's always been really important to me, and important to me for people to understand that it can do that for you. Okay, so he is talking a lot about um, finding how the mind and the body and the soul have to combine, and that you're never going to be well unless they're combined. And spiritual world is not all that matters, because you are a physical being, so you have to be, you have to use your physical, mental, and spiritual self together. You have to learn to use them in combination with each other. And I'm getting really out there to some of you. I'm sorry. Okay, so while reading that, and while reading Ghazali, and while reading Rumi and Kashif Majid, all these things, one thing people have talked about is how some people, well, okay, I'm condensing it into, they don't all say this exact thing, but I'm condensing it into people have to do things, or they feel empty a lot of times, right? I'm one of these people. I can't sit still. I can't just sit in silence, and that is one of the reasons I started doing the yoga, actually, because I'm trying to fill the space. Okay, now the reason this all came together with me is this book, actually. So the girl in the story she talks about how music, when the music is moving, she's whole and she's together, but music is created from the spaces in between. For example, if the note just went on, it's not music, it's a noise. But by the spaces, the pauses, dun 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 dun, that creates music. And the pauses in between, according to all four of these sources, are where we are looking for love, where we need love to fill that space. And by love, really what they mean is God. It comes out in different ways, obviously different texts, but basically God is there in the spaces in between the music, in the spaces where you're not doing things, where you're not fulfilled, where you are missing something. God is there, and you have to see him. He's always there. You have to find him in these spaces in between. And in the concept of the Witch of Portobello book, they're talking about love. This is the universal. The universal is love, and I believe by love he means the same as God. What I mean, anyways, is love and God. It mean the same thing. Okay, so filling the spaces in between with God, and the idea is that God is always within you, right? As I said in the beginning, God is here within you. You just need to receive it and open up your soul. And this sounds so metaphysical. I know I'm going to lose so many of you guys. I have trouble, I think, putting it into words. So in Sufism, one famous Sufi thing is whirling dervishes. They dance themselves into a fervor. It's their worship, their act of worship of love. And that's famous from certain places in the world. Another example is a yogi fills those spaces in between, finds those spaces in between, inside his, his heart, his belly, his chakras, chi, however you say it, but basically the spaces we're all looking for to be filled, that serenity, that peace, we all have that, and we all have the capability to find that, because it's not about being happy. It's about finding the joy and just loving, and feeling that love, that love, and like I said, that love is God. That's what you feel, your love for all things, and trying so hard to explain without getting too out there. I guess let me go back to the Witch of Portobello. So she talks about the girl in the story, for example, a calligrapher, an artist. In the pauses between the letters is where they find God. With her, she finds God in the spaces in the music. A Sufi will find that abandon, right, and finds God's in the quiet spaces in between. In the meditation, in the pose for a yogi, even to the point of, let's see, one thing in the Iyengar book that he says is, I'm trying to find an example. When you feel pain, when you're doing something and you feel pain, he said the pain is always there. This pose or this thing you're doing is helping you see the pain. It's telling your brain, the pain is here. So the pain is always there, and the same with God. God is always there. It just takes finding him in the pauses to understand and to let him in and let the light into you. So I'm going to leave it there because I'm just getting more complicated and more complicated, and this is a vlog, not a place for all this hardcore philosophy. But if that made sense to you and you want to hear more of my views on that, or you want to hear me talk some more about Ghazali or Rumi, because I know those are big hot topics that people like to hear about when they hear about Sufism. And so that I don't continue on this crazy, meaningless rant here, I'm just going to close with that. I hope you guys find that serenity, that place in between, and that you let God in. Have a good night.